This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Bob Santos here in Las Vegas. Bob, it's good to see you, good to meet you for the first time. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's great to be with you.
Obviously, it's a huge fight for yourself, for the team on Saturday night. Mario Barrios, current champion, your man defending against a ring legend of the last couple of decades in Manny Pacquiao. How do you all feel? How do you assess this fight going into Saturday night?
Well, that might be, an understatement as far as a ring legend. The guy's an icon, but I understand your point. It's amazing to go against somebody that's of this magnitude, what he's done for the sport. Like when I think of the greats, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, Manny Pacquiao, obviously, it's unbelievable.
How do you prepare for somebody like Manny, simply because obviously his time outside of the ring, his age now, people questioning what of his attributes might have declined? How have you found trying to prepare for this version of Manny Pacquiao we will see on Saturday night?
Well, what I had to do is with Mario Barrios, obviously, we prepared for the Pacquiao that beat Keith Thurman. I told many people, obviously, I picked Keith Thurman to beat Manny Pacquiao. I thought Keith Thurman, who I had Robert Guerrero fight him, was a much better athlete, great feet, big puncher, naturally big guy, had fought most of his career in the junior middleweights, even in the amateurs. So the next thing I know, he's on the deck. The next thing I know, they're raising Manny Pacquiao's hand, and Manny Pacquiao, here he is in his 40s, and he sets the all-time record. So we can't allow him to do that to us July 19th, and that's the Manny Pacquiao that we prepared for.
Seeing yourself and Mario talk about the violence that you expect to see on Saturday night. If you see a chance to get Manny out of there, you won't hesitate to take it. You want to get it done if that opportunity arises. Talk to me about that and try and basically keeping that mentality when you're in the ring, and if you see Manny hurt, ensuring that your man goes in for the finish.
Well, he better do that, because if he doesn't, he can get hurt, because Manny can still punch. In this sport, all it takes is one punch, as we've seen with Foreman and Michael Moore. So it just takes one punch. So Mario, if he has the opportunity, he's got to finish him, because if he doesn't, he can get finished. And so if that's not the mindset, we're going to be in big trouble that night. But I have a distinct feeling that will be our mindset, and we're going to be victorious July 19th.
A couple of questions I just asked Mario, which I want to put to yourself. Firstly, do you feel like people might discredit Mario if he's successful because of, again, Manny's age and his time outside of the ring?
Well, that's fine. One thing about life, you can't please everybody, right? So whatever you do, it's this guy didn't have that, this guy did this guy broke his hand, this happened, this. They make the fights. And the reason they make the fights is we're going to see who comes out victorious. And the fights are made, and that's all you can do is do your job. And I think as time goes on, win, lose, or draw, just to even go against an icon like Manny Pacquiao, have your name associated with him, that's a win in it itself. But if you can go out there and be victorious as time moves on, it's something great that you could tell your kids, your grandkids, and you've put your name in the history books. And I think Mario Barrios will feel great about that, and so will I.
Obviously, some people, when the fight was initially announced, spoke about why Manny Pacquiao chose to fight Mario Barrios, and there were some suggestions that people felt maybe Mario, out of the other champions, was the weakest, if you will. What do you make of those who feel that Manny chose him specifically because of, certainly say, Mario's last performance against Abel Ramos? It left a few questions.
Well, they always say you're only as good as your last performance, right? But that being said, at the end of the day, that's why they make the fights. Marquez wasn't supposed to knock out Pacquiao that night. He did it. Foreman wasn't supposed to beat Michael Moore that night. He did it. That's why you make the fight. So when they say he's the weakest of the champions, I don't know what that means or how they perceive it. But at the end of the day, when you get in the ring, Mario Barrios can punch. He's proven, he hurt Keith Thurman in the fight. Obviously, Keith Thurman beat us, decisively, but we did hurt him in the fight. And if Mario gets an opportunity to hurt Pacquiao like he did Thurman, as long as he jumps on it, whether that could be Norman or anybody, whether it's Boots Henderson, anybody, all it takes in this sport is one punch, and people forget that. And the one thing about Mario Barrios, he can't punch with both hands.
How important do you feel like on Saturday will be for Mario to set the pace and to set the tempo and to try and start to get to work on Manny as quickly as possible because of that age factor and that ring rust that he might feel?
I think he's got to do that regardless of his age with any fighter. You got to set the tone. You got to let them know that, hey, I'm here. I'm going to be here all night. Get your lunch pail ready. It's going to be a long night. Because if you don't do that, you're selling yourself short. You're not mentally prepared. And the other guy's going to feel that. And guess what? You're not going to be victorious when the other guy's name's announced.
Obviously, Mario's had a number of big fights in his career. How important of a factor will be that experience he's had going into a fight with Manny Pacquiao?
That's crucial because without the fight with Gervonta Davis and the pay-per-view with Keith Thurman, we'd be in some trouble going into this fight. I've seen it happen with Robert Guerrero. I've had guys fight Canelo. And until you've been in the big stage and had that, now you can still win and get over it, but you have to overcome a lot of things. And sometimes, fortunately, you do, but a lot of times guys fall on the short end of the stick because they've never been on the big stage. Canelo versus Mayweather the first time. You know, so it's a lot. Sometimes it can go against you for sure, but it definitely helps if you've been in a pay-per-view moving forward in a fight like this.
I'm sure you've seen the reports, Bob, as well, that apparently if Manny's successful, a potential Floyd Mayweather rematch is being explored. Firstly, what's your take on it? And secondly, do you feel like people are being a little bit dismissive of your man? And, you know, it happens a lot in boxing where people start to discuss other fights even though there's one right in front of them.
Well, of course, that's the nature of the beast. That's what this is. That's what we sign up for. And I could see where people would want to see that fight happen again. And obviously, if Manny was to be victorious, I'm sure Floyd would really entertain the thought of coming back. But it's not going to happen. Thank the good Lord Jesus Christ. I feel we're going to be victorious July 19th, and we're going to send Manny off into retirement.
I do know it's one fight at a time, but where to, provided Saturday goes to plan for Mario, do you want to try and make those unifications? Obviously, Rolly Romero also fighting under the PBC banner. Do you feel like that's a fight which makes sense to try and get done?
You know, we're open to fight anybody, whoever that is, whoever Louis DeCubas Jr. wants to put us in with. We're open to fight anybody. We'll see how it plays out. Whatever the best opportunity is. Mario Barrios has never ducked, dodged nobody. We fought Gervonta Davis. We fought Keith Thurman in our first fight at 147 pounds. And here we are fighting the global icon, Manny Pacquiao. So that's one thing about Mario Barrios. He's never ducked and dodged anybody.
You have to ask, I'm from the UK and there's a man who's highly ranked in the WBC rankings, Conor Benn, who's been calling for a crack at that title.
Yeah, Conor, how you doing out there, buddy? The UK, baby, let's go. You know, I'm actually a fan of Conor Benn. I'm a big fan of a lot of the fighters out there in the UK. That would be a great fight. You know, so obviously that's something that we would entertain, and we'll see how it plays out.
There's one final one from me. I just want to get your take, please, on the Canelo-Crawford fight. You mentioned you've been in and against Canelo previously, but how do you rate that fight and how much of a factor is that size difference? How much of a factor is Canelo's kind of recent performance against William School? Any more question marks that might have raised?
You know, in life, like I said, you're only as good as your last performance. I don't take too much in his last performance. The guy was moving everywhere. He's tall, he's rangy, he's, you know, around 6'1", and he was moving all over the ring. So Canelo knew he was winning the fight. How much did he really want to engage, take a chance when he knows he's going to win the fight? So therefore, he knows he has the big fight on the back end. I think, I'll tell you this, I think if Canelo knew, like, hey, this could go either way, and he had to press the action more and step up and do that, I think he would have did that, and I think he could have stopped that guy. But risk versus reward, I think that's why he didn't do it. And I think in this fight with Terrence Crawford, although I like Terrence Crawford, I think he's one of the best in the world. I think he's biting off a little bit more than he could chew. That being said, hey, I want to see it. Maybe he's going to prove me wrong, but I have a distinct feeling when he gets hit by Canelo at 168 pounds, he's going to realize it's a little bit of a different punch than what he's faced so far at 154 pounds.
Bob, it's a pleasure to speak to you for the first time. Best of luck with the rest of this week. Best of luck on fight night. And I thank you for speaking to me on Boxing News.
Thank you so much, and God bless you guys. The UK, we love you, baby. At Bob Santos Boxing. Let's go.